Hi, it's Pip Mackay here. It's day 28 of my 40-day quest to write my book. So just under 2 weeks now before it needs to be finished. And so basically I've got like 3 days per chapter of the chapters I've got left to write. But today what I wanted to talk about, because a while ago I was doing the High Priestess, and now I'm doing the Empress, or the Universal Mother, the Creative Nurturer. And I just wanted to talk about the difference between these two feminine principles. So the High Priestess is the virgin. It's the feminine principle before she's been impregnated, and it's usually represented by water. And you can see over here we've got the harbour, and water is sort of like this thing. It receives stuff into it, like the fish are in the water. So we have this sort of concept of water, water being a receiving principle. The ocean anyway, and things like that. Whereas the Empress, or the Creative Nurturer, this is more like nature in its green form. So we can see it's like producing, it's pregnant, and then giving birth and blooming, and so it's a kind of a different principle altogether. And I think this concept of Mother Earth is one of the oldest spiritual concepts that there's been. It's like totally prehistoric. It's been around for a really, really long time, and that's because years ago, before the Greeks, they had no real idea of how babies were created, so they just thought that women just spontaneously got pregnant and gave birth, and making love was something that you did. It was pleasurable, it's fun. Often it was part of a ritual. But then 9 months later you're having a baby. So it took a long time for people to connect those two things together and realise that. So they just thought that women just spontaneously gave birth, and it was just this miracle. And I think sometimes there's some things in life, in nature, that even when science explains them, they still remain a miracle. And I think the miracle of creativity is like that. I think the miracle of birth is like that. It's still a magical, extraordinary experience for people, whether you're the father or the mother or someone observing. It's just an extraordinary thing. And I know for myself, when I'm creating something, there's this sort of feeling of, well, where does it come from? Now, later on, you can trace it back and kind of go, oh, yeah, well, I saw that, and that idea went into my unconscious mind and mixed with a whole lot of other ideas, and then suddenly I produced this thing. But when it comes out as that idea or that piece of creativity, it's pretty amazing. And at the moment, I've been writing about Kuan Yin, which is the female Buddha, and there's this wonderful part to that story where she's ascending into heaven, and she hears the lamentations of the people suffering on earth, and she does her best to comprehend all the suffering, and her head splits into 11 pieces as she tries to comprehend the suffering of humanity. And another Buddha comes and gives her 11 heads. And then while she's listening to those lamentations, she reaches out her arms to embrace all of human suffering, and her arms shatter into 1,000 pieces. And the Buddha comes back again and gives her 1,000 arms so that she can embrace all of humanity. And she decides that she doesn't want to ascend to heaven until all suffering is finished. So she remains here on earth with us to listen to us and to be there and to embrace us in our times of need. And I think that's a beautiful story. It's very much part of the creative nurture and the mother principle. Anyway, that's what I'm writing about today. I'll have to finish the creative nurturer today. I must admit my adrenals suddenly, from all the heightened adrenal activity over the weekend, they finally calmed down, and I'm a bit tired, and sometimes it's just about sitting down and just doing it anyway. They say well, they say 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration. And sometimes people think that in order to create, they have to be inspired all the time. But let's face it, a mother giving birth, she's not particularly inspired. She's just doing the process. And sometimes that's what we just got to get on and do. Okay, I'll speak with you soon. Bye.